Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. For today's segment, I'd like to focus more on our aspiring ESL teachers. As an ESL teacher for a long time, since 2007, so how long has it been? Compute nyo na lang, di ako magaling sa math. So anyway, I'd like to focus more on helping the ESL aspiring ESL teachers. So to you all of you out there who wants to be an English teacher and a language teacher like me, and you don't know how to start and you don't know what to do before you get to carry or take out this career path, then I will be giving you 4 things that you need to consider and the things you can do before you can start teaching ESL or English as a second language teaching. ESL means English as a second language. So usually we teach, when you say ESL, these are students that come from any non-speaking English countries. So most likely you will be meeting a lot of students from the Southeast Asia. Southeast Asia. I've tried teaching Iranian and some Europeans, but very few of them. But most of them were from Asia, like Vietnam, Korea, Japan, and of course China, right? Okay, so let's get to the point. Now there are 4 things to do and to consider before you can be an ESL teacher. So number 1, you have to practice speaking English naturally, confidently, and comfortably. Why do I say this? Since this is intended to be a help or an information for the ESL aspiring teachers, then I'll be using Taglish for this video, okay? So, of course, you cannot teach someone that you don't have, right? If you're not comfortable, you're not confident, you're not natural in speaking English well, how can you teach it to your students? How can you pass it to them, right? So, the question is, how? In my experience, speaking through experience, in my case, actually, I was not really good at English when I started out. I had some doubts about my skills before, but I started becoming better when I started to decide to become confident. Minsan kasi sa ating mga Pinoy, takot tayo magkamali, or too scared of making mistakes, right? So the first step that you need to do is you have to be very confident. Bahala na yung mga mali, you learn from them. But of course, hindi naman pwedeng magturo ka na mali-mali ang grammar mo, right? Okay, of course, hindi naman pwedeng you will be a language teacher and you have grammar mistakes and so forth, right? But of course, you have to start it with yourself. You have to be natural, confident, and comfortable with the language first before you can even become an ESL teacher. Now, when I started out, I was working for a call center that time. So actually, I was not really aware of my tenses, how to use the tenses, the correct tenses of the verbs. I didn't know how, but I know how to communicate in my own right. So I just use English the way I know it. But actually, I was confident enough. I was comfortable enough. I was natural. It's not good to fake it, right? So maybe my call center experience was my very first experience in speaking the language. Because you have more time to speak, you get to be exposed in using the language and also talking to a lot of Americans, right? Now, maybe you might ask, paano ako, wala akong call center experience? I am really going to start from the first. Then maybe you can practice with someone. You should find an English buddy, like your best friend or someone you're comfortable with, maybe your relative. You can talk and then practice with them as much as you can. Or you can find the best way. You can discover it with yourself, right? That's the first one. You practice speaking English naturally, confidently, and comfortably. Number 2, you have to polish and brush up on your grammar use. You can never be a great teacher or a good teacher if you don't know your rules, if you don't know how to use and when to use the correct form of the grammar. I mean, the correct grammar use, right? Sometimes especially verb tenses, subject-verb agreement. These are very important part of the grammar rule. We have to know how to use it so that the students, especially if you get to meet or encounter high-level students, you have to be very good at deciphering kung ano yung mali nila kasi you have to correct them. Especially pag yung estudyante very particular sa grammar, you have to be very careful. So, of course, they should not lose their faith in you as their teacher. So you have to be ready. You have to polish and brush up on your grammar use. And you should know, when I started out, I tell you, I know how to use English, but I don't know why I have to use this. Di ba minsan tayong mga Pinoy yung just, it sounds correct. Ganun lang tayo based on our instinct. But actually, that's correct too. However, it's better, it's best for you to know why and when. You actually, everyone can learn the grammar rules. And it can be sometimes confusing. It's analysis, actually. It's a logical, critical analysis on why this is used, when do we use this. So you will know what I'm talking about once you get there. So now, you would know how. You can use a grammar book. You can check on YouTube. There are a lot of tutorials on grammar in basic to advanced grammar in English. So do maximize all the resources that you can find. Okay, so that's the second one. Number 3, pronunciation. Syempre, ang mga Asian, I would say that they are very particular with pronunciation. Do you think they will enroll if the teacher doesn't know her pronunciation? You don't need to sound very, very Americanized or very British-like. Important thing is you sound clear. You know your pronunciation, at least neutral accent. You don't have Filipinism or not Filipinism. You don't have Filipino accent. When I started out, I had Filipino accent. And it's okay to have Filipino accent. But of course, if you will be a language teacher, you have to sound neutral, at least. You don't need to be very much into accent, different accent, right? But ang pangit kasi pag yung masyadong finifake or sinasadya yung accent, di ba? Like for example, oh, how are you today? Sobra, di ba? Parang exage. Kahit ako yung ng ganun. You have to sound natural, but at the same time clear. The clarity, the enunciations are there. Okay? At least neutral. Okay, and number 4, this is the most important thing that you have to reflect on. Guess what? Guess what it is? It's the passion in teaching. If you don't have any passion in this craft, in this teaching, better not. Better not teach, because it takes a lot of patience to teach, whether it's an adult or even it's a kid. Of course, if it's a kid, you're gonna be needing a lot of this, a lot of patience. But in my years of teaching, I would say it doesn't only take patience, but passion. You know, it will keep you going. Many jobs in this world, sometimes we get weary or pag masyado ng routinary, feeling natin na boring na, right? But if it's something that you love to do, it will keep you going and you will excel in it. Right? Do you agree? And make sure you have the passion in teaching and you have the passion in helping the students to learn it the easiest way. Kasi meron yung mga ibang teachers, they are using high polluting words, but the student's level is not up to it. You have to be good at adjusting to the student's level. You don't need to mesmerize them with high polluting words. Importante yung makita nila, maintindihan nila the easiest way. And that is one of the most important job as a teacher, to break it down to them easier. But of course, if the student is already high intermediate or higher than that, then you can let them do the breaking down. They can learn more, right? Okay, so before we end, let me recap. Let's have a recap about the 4 things that you need to start, there are 4 things that you need to consider and to do before you can start being an ESL teacher. Number 1, you remember? Practice speaking English naturally, confidently, and comfortably. Number 2, polish and brush up on your grammar use. 3, pronunciation. It should be at least neutralized. And number 4, passion in teaching and in helping the students learn it the easiest way. And you know why? I love teaching. Even I'm not really a teacher yet by profession, right? But I plan to take up masters, but I'll not break it down yet until it happens. So let's cross the bridge when we get there. But anyway, I've been teaching since 2007, so it's that long for me to that experience. So I want you to know about it. Okay, so please make sure that you have all these 4 before you can try to be an ESL teacher. Anyway, I hope it helped you a lot. It helps. And I hope to see you again next time. Bye!